fellas, here are my top 4 maps in Farming Simulator 2025. Currently, there are 4 maps available in FS25, including DLC. So you have Riverb Springs, you have Hutan Pantai, Xylanka, and New Frontier. That's all there is available at the moment. Mods are not on console yet, other than New Frontier, but that is the options right now. This list is more to do with my personal opinion. I like to factor in how fun is the map to play, is it practical, is it annoying to expand, a whole bunch of factors. But we'll get into that as I kind of talk over the different fields. But either way, let's get into the lists. Number 4, we have the OG map of the game, Riverb Springs. Now, the reason why this is not a bad map at all by any means, but it is the bottom of the 4 for me, I believe. It is a pretty map, I will give it that. The biggest issue with it is simply that the field sizes are just not good, right? These are tiny little fields, right? These 3 that you start out with are not big, and there's no real capability to expand these fields either by plowing, right? You can't even really connect them. You can connect these 3 and make a decent sized field. You can connect these ones and you got a weird shaped decent sized field, but you kind of get what I'm trying to say. They're just not really conducive to growing large operations. So it's a good starter map, good one to learn on, but it's not good for giant operations. I do like the starter farm better on this, I think, than the other maps. Give you little animals, a little more to do, but for practicality of scaling, it's not good. The other thing I don't like about it is the giant river in the middle of the map. That's just kind of tedious to navigate. It is cool, but it is a hassle. And there's also some fields like this one here that are surrounded by woods that are just kind of unusable. And it's like you can't get a combine to this thing easily. It just doesn't really work. And as you're trying to do contracts, they're a pain to get to. So just a lot of downsides on this map, but it does look really good, right? That it is a benefit to this map over some of the others. So if we just kind of go to different areas here, if it lets me visit, a lot of woods, a lot of wooded areas for that sort of thing. It does have a lot of potential with that, but like I said, just kind of lacks in some of the more important areas of the game for me, at least. But good starter map. Nothing wrong if this is your favorite. It's just not for some of the more seasoned players that get a lot of hours in these games and expand their operations, because it's a little limited in that regard. Coming in at number 3, we have Patu. I don't even know how to say it. It's the second map on the list as far as the original game list goes. This is one of the base maps. This map is clearly put in here to get you started on the new rice crop, which is not a bad thing by any means, right? I do enjoy the rice. It comes with a greenhouse if you do the starter farm, a couple rice fields. The problem with starting with rice fields, though, is, rice is kind of a unique crop in that it's really only used for, rice. It's not giving you a combine where you have different options, soybeans, canola, wheat, grain, all that stuff. It's pretty much just rice. So I believe these greenhouses are sapling greenhouses too, if I'm not mistaken. Let me check that. But it's not a bad map by any means. Like I said on the other ones, I do enjoy. Yeah, these are saplings in there. So it gives you everything to do rice, but that's kind of the extent of the starter farm. It's a decently pretty map. I feel like this one feels a little more quiet than Riverb Springs does, or I don't know, Xylanka, or however you pronounce it. But it does have expansion capabilities, right? It's got a couple really, really big fields, which is nice. It does have big wooded area up here. So if you're into logging, this is probably the field for you. It's got big wooded areas up here, which is fun for that. And there's woods around here, but it's a little like sectioned off to a degree, and a couple weird shaped fields are not my favorite. But it does have a lot of potential here. This is still a good map. I'd rate all these maps probably at minimum 7 out of 10. They're all playable. All right, none of these are bad maps per se, but I think the other 2 are better than this one. Just for minor differences that I prefer the other 2 for. But this big city center is kind of cool, but it's a little hard to navigate with, tractors and stuff, which is kind of a bother. But overall, pretty solid map. It does have, the store in a decent location, right up here, but it's a decent trek to get through, and you have to go through woods to get to your house. So if I just bomb down there real quick, I'll show you what I mean. You can't just, hightail it back to your field because you hit this mountain range, which is a little bit of a bother if you're doing a starting field. Obviously, you can just get the fields around it, but it kind of means that section that you're supposed to start in isn't really usable per se. Obviously, you can use it, but you're not going to combine through this. Um, yeah, it's not happening. So you have to like go around all the way, and it's just kind of tedious to get back to your farm after you buy something, which is less than ideal. And a lot of times that's kind of what I base my whole playthrough on is store location based on where the good fields are at. So, like I said, you could just buy the fields that are up by the store here, but again, you're expanding kind of in a funky direction. And I prefer long, skinny fields, personal preference, than these big square ones. And this one's got weird edge, which could be better, but not bad fields. That's definitely better field size than Riverbend Springs, but it also does feel a little more quiet than Riverbend Springs, a little less realistic in that regard, a little quieter of a map. So, that's why this one comes in at number 3. Coming in at number 2, we have the DLC map, the mod map, New Frontier. Now, the only reason why this isn't number 1 is simply because it is a dead map, and plowing your own fields is kind of a hassle. However, I will put an asterisk on that because this map definitely has the most potential because it is so bare bones, and I can definitely see how if you're trying to, start a run where like I'm going to play this till the next farming simulator comes out, yeah, this is the map to do it on, right? It's massive. Okay, I'm in this little section up here. These are the only pre-made fields. The rest of this is just open land, right? It's got logging to do. It's got potential for absolutely ginormous fields. You do have to plow them yourself. Again, that can be fun because you're making your own farms. Um, the woods are kind of a pain because they're kind of in the middle of things a little bit, right? So this is not one field typically. Well, it depends on the one you're on. And this one it probably is, but in some of them, yeah, it's this whole plot. But in some of these, they divide these plots in half to make them cheaper. But they divide them down the middle here, and then it's like half woods here and half woods here. So you end up with half a field. So you kind of have to buy them both anyways to utilize it all, which isn't the end of the world, right? But it is kind of a hassle, and it is pretty hilly, which is a little obnoxious if you're dealing with some stuff. But like I said, a great map for that. Logging stuff and growing your operation, and you can literally have a field go from here down to here if you wanted to, right? You could just make these things super long, put them at an angle if you really wanted to, and really go around the whole map, be a G that way. But a lot of potential with this map. I'm really curious to see like those I've played Farming Simulator for 3 years videos, and they show this map, and just to see what it evolved into over that time, especially if you're running on a server, just to see what people come up with and build out the map, which is it's unique for this game. I don't think I've ever seen it, especially not as the day one mod, and the only one available is basically a build your own farm map. So yep, comes in at number 2. The only reason why it's not number 1, like I said, is because you have to build your own fields, which is a hassle, and it's a dead map. There's nothing here. There's no NPCs. There's no roads. It gets a little dreary and dull, especially if you're playing by yourself. It's kind of hard to explain unless you play it, but I think you'll know what I mean, where you feel like stuff should be going on and it's just not. So again, coming in number 2. Now on to number 1. And coming in at the mighty number 1 spot, we have my favorite map of the game, Zion Lanka. It's basically just improved Riverbend Springs, right? All the things I don't like about Riverbend Springs, this fixes. Same with Huntai. But you know what I'm talking about. I don't know how to pronounce it. But anyways, the starter farm, if you're going that route, is optimally placed right next to the store, which is ideal. It doesn't really come pre-planted, which I like. It gives you the option. I think you start with these, these fields right here. I bought this one for this map, but gives you decent starter fields. And as you'll notice, long square fields, big fan of those. You can pinch all these together and make ginormous fields if you want. There is logging available, although it is a little more limited than the other maps. If you're going to do logging, I wouldn't recommend this one necessarily, but for farming itself, this is good. And there is logging available, right? You got this whole section up here for logging, which is good. It is a little expensive, 706,000, but logging's expensive to get into. I have this place higher than New Frontier because it is better field sizes, and it's an actual map. So there's people walking around. It feels a little more lively. There's contracts to do that sort of thing that New Frontier does not have. It is a decently flat map, so you don't have to worry about getting stuck on hills. The water is there, but it's not tedious, right? It's not really in the way of anything, and it's just little lakes. And like even this one you think would be a bother, there's cut throughs in the middle of it. So if you're harvesting here and you want to get to this station here, you can cut right through the middle. So it's not a big tedious thing to go sell your crop or anything like that. It's just a really easy map to play. Great for scaling up, great for selling your stuff, great for buying things at the store, great for combining fields. Has a little bit of variability as far as terrain goes. There are some hills, but overall, I think it's just my favorite map. Anyways, guys, let me know in the comment section, what is your guys' favorite map? What map are you guys playing? This is my favorite, but I want to know what you guys are using. What do you play Riverb Springs? Do you play on this one? You know, what are you guys doing? Don't forget to like, favorite, subscribe for the video, and check out my other videos on the channel. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Peace out.